Daniela, thank you for that introduction. And thank you, everyone, for joining me in today's session. The purpose of this discussion is to talk about some trending topics, some of which we have already talked about in this conference in terms of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and other emerging technologies. I want to discuss what they are. I want to discuss what they are not. And most importantly, I want to discuss the positive impacts that these emerging technologies can have on sustainable practices within workforces around the world. So, as Daniela discussed, I am a professor of project and supply chain management at Penn State University. I am also a research faculty affiliate for the Center for the Business of Sustainability within the Smeal College of Business at Penn State. At the institutional level, I do a lot of work with the Sustainability Institute at Penn State, where we bring in the business aspects and we create a interdisciplinary approach to sustainability. Also outside of Penn State, I work with the Clean Energy Smart Manufacturing Innovation Institute, and that is an institute that is funded by the United States Department of Energy, and their mission is to democratize technology. And given that that is their mission and that is aligned with my goals, given that I work primarily with small and medium manufacturers and distributors, I think that this is one step into creating a more sustainable world. Also, in addition to working with SESME, I also work with the International Supply Chain Education Alliance, and we are currently developing a sustainable supply chain course. And if you want more information on that, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. So, as there are a number of different definitions when we discuss sustainability, and I think that there's going to be more definitions once we emerge out of this pandemic. I'm going to frame the term sustainability based on how Penn State defines sustainability. From a environmental from the human aspect, I should say, I want to talk about the element of safety as it pertains to this discussion. From the economic well-being aspect, I want to talk about how we can leverage tools such as AI and machine learning so that we can have employees focus on more value-added activities that will result into increased empowerment, and that can also lead to additional promotional opportunities, and they can grow both professionally and personally. And then finally, from the environmental aspect, we want to talk about how we can reduce waste throughout our supply chains, throughout our distribution networks, as well as throughout our manufacturing facilities. So this graph here is one of it's, as we enter into as we go toward the end of 2020. This is one of the graphs that I have been referred to. I refer to often in terms of presentations, in terms of my class lectures. And we see that at the beginning, pre-COVID, at the beginning of 2020, we've seen that there was an increased interest in adopting IT automation. There was an increased interest in adopting artificial intelligence. Now we can see that these buckets, if you will, have been separated. But I think that we talk a lot about Industry 4.0, and my argument with Industry 4.0 is that it was first introduced in Germany in 2011, and the foundation of Industry 4.0 was grounded in cyber physical systems. Or in the manufacturing and production environment, it was grounded upon cyber physical production systems. Now, as we reach the end of the first decade of Industry 4.0, we have been introduced to tools such as artificial intelligence, blockchain, machine learning. And given the positive impacts, given the disruptions that these technologies provide to organizations, I feel that we are moving out of Industry 4.0 and we're moving into Industry 4.5. Now, some will argue that, but because the researchers and the practitioners in Germany in 2011 did not explicitly call out AI, ML, blockchain, and the integration of those tools, that's why I feel that we should move out of 4.0 and go into 4.5. Now, within Industry 4.5, we are going to be introduced into what some have referred to as integrated intelligent automation, where we are integrating all of these tools. We are integrating AI, ML, blockchain, ERP applications, and we're integrating them outside of our four walls. Okay, so within this caption here, we have AI at the top, and I want to state here that whenever I'm referring to AI within this discussion, I am referring to AI as augmented intelligence. Okay. Now you can see that artificial intelligence is under that AI augmented intelligence umbrella because I feel that AI artificial intelligence is the tool and augmented intelligence is the action, the result, the output because we are not currently at the points where we are going to have machines interaction. And whenever I refer to augmented intelligence as it pertains to the workforce, we are going to be working alongside of these machines. We are going to be leveraging the tools of artificial intelligence, the tools of deep learning, the tools of machine learning to make well-informed decisions, to perform our daily tasks, to automate some of those tasks, some of those repetitive tasks, I should say. So I just want to, and that's whenever I say what AI is and what AI is not. Whenever I say AI, I'm talking about augmented intelligence instead of artificial intelligence. Okay. So within the current state, within the Internet of Things, there are a lot of great things going on within the distribution industry, the manufacturing industry, the supply chain industry from a workforce perspective. Because of IoT, we are able to get real-time data that's fed in to inform us of things, to be more proactive and to act upon certain actions. Also, it's increasing the safety of workers. It's increasing the efficiency of workers. And I think that as we progress, we will see more and more of these technologies make a positive impact on workforces. Now, I'm going to say it for the first time. I'm going to say it multiple times throughout this discussion, in that my vision of augmented intelligence is not to replace jobs within industries. It is to assist those workers within the industry. Also, within the U.S., I just had a discussion at a conference in Hong Kong, and we had a roundtable discussion, and they said the same holds true in that region where there's a lot of individuals within the manufacturing and distribution industries that are reaching retirement age, and the Gen Zs within those regions, the Gen Zs within the United States, do not want those labor intensive jobs. Those individuals do not want to work in a factory. So that creates a problem for leaders of these types of companies where they are looking for people to perform those duties. But whenever there is a need, when there's a gap in the industry, these organizations are going to have to turn to automation. and we seen the first glimpse of what that may look like with the pandemic, when we seen organizations such as Amazon introducing accelerating, I should say, automation within their distribution centers for picking, for packing, for building boxes and things like that. So I think that the pandemic accelerated the automation within factories. I think that employees within these organizations, within these industries, seeing that they can indeed work side by side with these processes, with these tools, with these machines. Okay. Now, again, there's a lot of excellent things in terms of the use of sensors, in the terms of in the use of IoT and things of the adoption of machine learning within the industry. We're seeing the early stages of the artificial intelligence tool within the industry. Now, what does the future of work look like? We are we are going to see let me see here. Yes, we are going to see the introduction to augmented reality. So with augmented reality, we're going to have a number of tools such as Google Glass and things like that, where those employees can put on Google Glass, or they can use an iPad or a tablet to provide insight, to provide training, to provide standard operating procedures into an organization. Also, another thing that can be used is that those older individuals that are leaving the industry, that have the knowledge of the organization, that has the knowledge of the process of the organization, can create those standard operating procedures, and they can have playbacks for those new employees. So that's one way that augmented intelligence can be used within the industry. We also have digital twins. So we've with digital twins is used a lot within the automotive industry. Digital twins is used a lot within the aerospace industry. Now, digital twins can also be translated to the distribution industry, as well as other areas of manufacturing. Again, for training, to identify temperatures, to review gauges for maintenance purposes. Okay, so that's going to increase the efficiency within the organization. That's going to lead to that positive environmental impact when it comes to sustainability. Okay. Also, we have the introduction of drones. So you say, Justin, what does drones have to do anything? Drones increase the safety within a distribution center, within a manufacturing facility. So instead of an employee going up 50 feet into a cherry picker to count inventory, now they can have drones to integrate those drones into an organization's ERP application to increase the safety within an organization. Now, another use case in a different industry. I was working with an individual where he's a executive within the insurance industry. And so typically they insure Lowe's, they insure Home Depot, they insure Walmart. So years ago, pre-drone in the pre-drone era, they would have individuals walking up on these buildings. And with the introduction of drones, they now have those people that were walking on buildings trained as drone pilots, and now they increase the safety within the environment. Now, again, those people that were performing those manual, dangerous tasks now have been upskilled, now have been trained, now have been empowered, and now they're getting paid more because they're providing more value to the organization. So that same exact scenario is transferable to manufacturing facilities and distribution facilities. Another example within the future of work is predictive maintenance. So instead of preventative maintenance, where preventative maintenance, I think there was a study years ago by the Navy where they said that although they had a predictive maintenance program in place, they encountered a higher number of machine breakdowns with that preventative maintenance program than before they had the preventative maintenance program. Now predictive maintenance is going to leverage artificial intelligence to collect that data from the machines. It can also collect that data from the sensors and feed that data into the AI tool to make that maintenance schedule more accurate, to make the preventative maintenance where you can increase the utilization and efficiency within your manufacturing facility. So those are just four of many tools that can be leveraged through the workforce, and again, augmented intelligence by using artificial intelligence as a tool. So with all of these tools, a lot of I get from small and medium manufacturers and distributors always say, yeah, these are tools that are leveraged by the Fortune 500 companies, the Fortune 100 companies, but in reality, these tools are available to everyone. But and the thing, and the first place you begin is to you currently evaluate where do I stand in terms of my transformation. And when we talk about technology transformations, we always say people, process, and technology. Now, now this organization named Next Gen Group took that a step further, where they created a number of additional buckets where they say, okay, where do we stand from a overall operations perspective? Where do we stand from an automation perspective, which is the which is the focus of this discussion now, in terms of information processing. So I always say that the data itself is a foundation, and that is where I always start whenever I'm working with organizations on digital transformations. Where does your data stand? How accurate is your data? How clean is your data? Okay. In terms of continuous improvement, what types of continuous improvement initiatives do you have as an organization? Okay. What is your current state digital transformation? Are you on Excel spreadsheets? Are you on an ERP, an homegrown ERP application? Are you on a best of breed ERP application? Are you using workflows? Are you using business process automation? So there's a number of different questions that are asked when it comes to an organization's digital transformation. And then also in terms of workforce development, how do you empower your workforce? How do you train your workforce? How do you prepare your workforce for those those promotional opportunities? So that's what we look at. We also have what we refer to as an intra-company maturity inside my four walls. And then you have an inter-company where you go outside, you go and say, okay, where is my business partners at in terms of maturity? So there's a number of different maturity matrices out there. This is just one of them. This is one that I am working with Next Gen Group on to kind of fine tune, to bring in that academic research, to kind of blend, kind of bring in that scholar practitioner or a practitioner approach to a maturity model. And we also, with the introduction of these emerging technologies such as AI and ML, we have to create a new matrix because there's new considerations. So this is where this new maturity matrix comes in, where we're bringing in those emerging technologies, we're bringing in the infrastructure, we're bringing in the business partners to assess their maturity as well. So what happens is that you first identify your current state maturity, and then you will assess what my future state maturity is. Now but here, the future state maturity is very important, because you may be a 1 or a 2 in one of these areas, but those areas may not be important to you. And that's why that future state maturity is important to assess, where you can say, okay, my current state maturity is at a 2, or my current state maturity is at a 2, my future state is going to be at a 2. So there's no improvement there. So, and again, you say, well, why would you not want to get to a 5? It depends on the environment. It depends on the significant amount of investment in some of these areas. So that's why we assess what my current state maturity will be, and then what my future state maturity. Yep, I want to keep some time. So my calls to action is to understand true augmented intelligence, to understand that artificial intelligence is only a tool. You will have the hype, you will have the buzzwords to say artificial intelligence is going to change the world. In one part, yes, it will, because but with the correct tools, with the correct data, with the correct amount of data, it can change. But again, the most important part is it's only a tool. Okay. And where we're staying in the current state is augmented intelligence, is where we're going to work side by side. We're going to use these tools. We're going to leverage these tools for a more sustainable environment. Next, again, going back to the previous slide, we want to assess your organization's maturity, your current state maturity, as well as your future state maturity. You want to get buy-in from your internal stakeholders, so the leadership first and foremost. You want to get buy-in from the workforce to say that this is going to only assist you in your roles within your organization. This is not going to replace your job. Okay. And then you also want to get collaboration with your external stakeholders, because it's going to create a win-win. It's going to create that strategic partnership with your business partners. And then finally, we want to get back to the basics. And what I mean by getting back to basics is that these tools all depend upon accurate data. If you do not have accurate data, these tools are not going to work. These tools will not provide any benefit. They will actually provide a detriment, because you're going to get incorrect data. And because some leaders, some individuals fall into the trap of AI is going to change the world. If I feed AI incorrect data, I'm gonna get bad outputs, bad results. So I would say get back to basics, analyze your data, ensure that your data is accurate, correct, and clean, and then we can move forward with these emerging technologies, and looking to implement these emerging technologies within your organization. So, last thing, if I can be reached via email, or you can reach out to me on LinkedIn.